Welcome back to Wet Paint, a space for honesty, not perfection. This is where we talk about the parts of life that don't come with clean endings. The parts that blur, the parts that ache. Today's episode is called When Love Starts to Hurt. And before we go any further, I want to say this clearly. This episode is not about villainizing people. It's about validating my experiences, because not all harm is intentional and not all pain is dramatic. But pain that repeats still matters. And don't mind me, y'all. I'm getting over a cold, so that's why I sound like this. But bear with me. Alright, so this is our painting. When love hurts, let it go. Now I'm going to be talking about toxicity, y'all. Toxic relationships don't always announce themselves. They don't always come with yelling insults or obvious betrayal. Sometimes they come with confusion. You're always trying to read between the lines, trying to figure out what version of the person you're getting today, trying to understand rules that keep changing. That kind of confusion keeps your nervous system in a constant state of alert. And exhaustion then follows. So you're tired, but not because you're not doing too much. You're tired because you're constantly adjusting your tone, your expectations, your needs, and then comes self-doubt. You start wondering if you're asking for too much, if you're too sensitive, if you're the problem. Love should feel clarifying, not destabilizing. When confusion becomes the norm, that's the complexity. That's not complexity, that's erosion. And my own personal life of this toxicity, and not always does it come with relationships. It comes in friendships. It comes in situationships. And that's where my story comes in, y'all. I was in a situationship for about, I want to say a year. Oh, and this too. If somebody ever tells you that they are a psychology major, that is a red flag. Whenever someone tells you they're a psychology major, they are going to manipulate you. Or they will try to. And that's what happened in my situationship. I feel like he narrated stories to fit so that I would believe. Or, for example, if he would always keep me guessing. Like, if he likes me, or does he want to spend time with me? Like, I was constantly confused in that situation. But then he would, do something nice, or do something inspirational, or do something sweet. And then I would second guess everything. Or he would make me feel like I was the problem. Never let anyone feel like you are the problem. Especially when we have intuition that tell us what to get into and not get into. And for me, I just failed to listen to any of it when it came to him. And it's a sad thing. But I did break free from that situationship. I stayed entirely too long. Even knowing the obvious. He didn't have a girlfriend, but I could never see him outside of work hours, which is so, now seeing it in hindsight, why I didn't see it, why I didn't realize the constant confusion, it was just, but I broke free. And now that is just a distant memory. Now I just reflect on it and know that if you're in a relationship that keeps you second guessing, you're confused, you constantly have to read between the lines, they can't see you outside of work hours, run. And if they tell you they're a psychology major, run. Do not stay in a relationship like that, because they're there to use you. And that brings me to red flags, all right? We're taught to look for red flags at singular moments, but toxicity is rarely about one event. It's about patterns that never quite resolve. The same apologies, the same explanations, the same cycle of hope, followed by disappointment. Repetition is not coincidence, it's communication. If something keeps happening over and over again, that is a sign and you should get out. If something keeps hurting you in the same way, the relationship is telling you what it's capable of. And that is where people get stuck. Because hope is powerful. You hope that that person's going to change. You hope that you give them enough attention that they'll be what you want, but that's not going to happen. We convince ourselves that this time will be different, not because the behavior changed, but because the tolerance shifted. So what you put up with is what you're going to get. So love is not supposed to require endurance. If it's something that requires you brace, if it's something that requires you to brace yourself emotionally every time, pay attention to that. If you see someone doing the same, I'm going to give you an example. I dated someone 20 years ago, and he had some like habits that at that time I really didn't think much of it. You know, he liked to hang out a lot. He liked to drink a lot. And apparently he was a cheater too. But things that, red flags that I did not pay attention to back then. One time I went to his apartment because he wasn't answering his phone. His lights were on. His shades were closed and you could not see in there, but he wasn't answering his door. Now that should have been a red flag. That should have told me like something's going on. But of course, I was naive. You know, I was 21 years old, giving him the benefit of the doubt. Fast forward 6 months, and I find out he has a baby on the way with a girl that was friends with his sister. And the irony in that is, it was by my best friend's cousin. But I say all that because when I went to his apartment, that was a red flag. That was a red flag that I didn't even dawn on me that something like that would be happening. Now we're gonna fast forward to 18 years later, where I tried to rekindle my relationship with him. So we had a really bad breakup. Like it was a bad breakup. We didn't talk for almost 18 years. Like we didn't talk for 18 years. Then one of our friends that we used to work with passed away. So we rekindled at like around the funeral. And what I realized is 18 years later, this man was the same person. Like there was no growth at all. There was all kind of red flags around him. Like mentioning the girl that he cheated on me with, still mentioning her name 18 years later. Still drinking like he was always, like there was so many red flags that popped up around that situation. I was like, oh heck no. No growth at all. So when you see red flags, it don't matter if somebody's trying to come back in your life. Like there's a reason why they're not in your life. Listen to it. Also, with toxicity, love should never require you to change who you are or shrink or abandon yourself. One of the clearest signs that love has turned harmful is self-erosion, which is you notice yourself getting quieter, you're less expressive, you're more careful, you stop bringing things up, not because they don't matter, but because you're tired of not how they're received. You start explaining yourself endlessly, hoping that clarity will finally earn you care. Healthy love doesn't require translation. You shouldn't have to prove your humanity to be treated gently. If love requires you to silence parts of yourself to survive, it's not love, it's containment. And the most painful part, sometimes the person isn't even cruel. They're just incapable of meeting you without costing you yourself. And that still matters. You should never, ever, ever, ever change the person who you are for anyone. So I have another story for that. So I was a teen mom. I met my oldest child's father when I was 16 years old. And he was, I say, some people aren't cruel, but he was. But he was very controlling and, like, I couldn't even be myself. Like, I'm a girly girl. And when I was younger, I used to love wearing makeup. Like, I wear makeup now like crazy. I go to work and wear makeup. My uncle told me one day, like, I got all pretty, went to work, and he said, you're not going to the nightclub. Like, I love putting makeup on. It just makes me feel pretty. And in my relationship with him, he didn't let me do any of it. He didn't let me talk to friends. He was very controlling. And that's probably one of the worst toxic relationships that you can be in. You should always be able to express yourself and be free in the relationship and the person that you're with. I left that relationship. So our son was 1 month old when I left that relationship. And it took a lot. I had to physically move away, and stay with my dad just to get away from him. But I did that because he grew up in a home where he watched his mother get abused. So that's why it's important when you are raising your children to be mindful about the environment that you have them in. Because that's what they learn. That's how they learn to, that's what he did. He saw, if that's what he's seen his mother, that's what he's seen his mother happen to her. So he carried that. And me having my son and knowing that can happen, I decided I'm going to leave this abusive relationship, this toxic relationship, because I want my son to grow up knowing how to treat a woman. And he does. Even though his father has been a part of his life his whole entire life, and he still was exposed to that behavior. But he just wasn't exposed to that behavior through me. And that's the difference. A young man seeing his mother being treated like that, it just affects them differently. So that's how I left that toxic relationship. And though we co-parented very peacefully for the most part, our son now is an adult, but he's a very respectful young man. He does not beat on his women, and he's not abusive. So, it made a difference getting him out of that environment. So, don't ever change yourself for anyone. Be you, because someone out there is going to love you for you. You won't have to change or be validated by anyone. Another thing that keeps people in relationships are over empathy. So this is where many people stay longer than they should, because guilt feels like proof that they're doing something wrong. But guilt is not always moral information. Sometimes it's conditioning. If you've been taught to be the understanding one, the patient one, the forgiving one, choosing yourself can feel like betrayal. Over empathy makes you responsible for emotions that don't belong to you. You start carrying someone else's wounds as if they're your duty. But compassion does require self-destruction. You can care deeply and still leave. You can be kind and still say no. Guilt doesn't mean you failed. It often means you finally choosing differently. A lot of people stay in relationships that they should not. And a big one is kids. A lot of people stay in relationships for kids. But I feel like, and this is just my opinion, I'm not a therapist, but I feel like if you stay in a toxic relationship for your kids, you are teaching your kids that that's okay, that it's okay to live miserable or live unhappy, fighting in front of them all the time, bringing that type of, that's okay, and that's worse on your children, in my opinion. Again, I'm not a therapist. I'm just saying. For me, I would rather be happy and show my kids that you can live happy, even if you have to let certain things go. You're free to do that. You don't have to tolerate disrespect or tolerate anything. I remember I had a boyfriend one time that told me if I didn't do it, he would find somebody else to do it. And young me was a fool and just ate that shit up, man. Very manipulative. Today, me, I would have told him to kick rocks. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Bye. But that's the part of growth. When you're young, you're very naive. You also have to honor the inner voice that we learn to silence. So we have intuition, Holy Spirit, however, whatever you want to call it, we have it. All right? When your body knows before your mind catches up, it speaks through tension, through heaviness, through the quiet thought you keep pushing away that something isn't right. But that's when the voice isn't honored and retreats. You stop trusting yourself. Rebuilding trust starts with listening, even when the truth is inconvenient. Your inner voice isn't dramatic. It's consistent. It doesn't demand urgency. It asks for honesty. Learning to trust yourself again is not about becoming fearless. It's about becoming loyal to your own experience. So always listen to that discernment. And it took me a long time to know even what that was. Like, I've always had intuition. All of us do. All of us know things before they happen, or you'll get a feeling. You're like, this ain't right. Your first thought, like, if something isn't right, everybody has it. You should listen to it. It's never going to lie to you. So my painting is coming along really good. You can drink a little water. So as y'all can see, the theme behind my little painting is, when love hurts, let it go. I personally am a leaver. I don't tolerate pretty much anything. Like, I'm not like as bad as like if you leave the toothpaste top off the toothpaste, like it's over. Like, I'm not that bad, but my tolerance for stuff is very low. Like, I've been with a manipulator before, and let me tell you, this man could have sold ice water to an Eskimo. Like, and it's crazy because he's just the quietest person you would ever meet, but very manipulative, like very subtly manipulative. I think I've left every relationship that I've been in, not because like I wanted to, but because I had to. Because I feel like somebody that's gonna constantly hurt your feelings. Like, I was married, and I literally cried a lot. Because I'm that person that says, I say, always tell me the truth. I don't care how bad it hurts. Always tell me the truth. And y'all, when you say that, you better be ready for what they tell you. Because my feelings was always constantly hurt in that relationship. And that was kind of toxic. That was a toxic relationship. We were married for 8 years. We have 3 kids. He didn't want to split up in the beginning. And his reason for not wanting to split up was the kids. It's like, I can't see my kids every day. Like, why can't you? Look, come get your kids anytime you want your kids. Like, that's my philosophy. Like, I do not keep my children from their dads, any of them. So, and I know y'all wondering, like, how many baby daddies do you got? So I have 7 children by 4 people. And I'm going to give you the rundown of my toxic relationships because every single one of them was toxic. So I talked about my first son's dad. We were like 16 years old when we met, and he was pretty abusive. Like, we would fight. Like, one time, my sister reminded me of this story, and I don't remember it, but I guess we was fighting, and he came downstairs, and he was like full of paint. Like, apparently I hit him with a bucket of paint. I remember I stabbed him in the neck before. So I guess the toxicity and the abuse was both ends, but I was defending myself. I never started, but I was just defending myself. And that relationship lasted a year. And again, I walked away from that. Then my second child is my daughter, my only girl. And she just turned 26. My oldest son's 28. And my second is 26. She just turned 26. And I was with her father for 4 years. And it was kind of toxic from the beginning. So I cheated first in the beginning of our relationship. And so, yeah, so that's kind of was the start of the toxicity. But then he started cheating, and then one time he went out to the bar and he came home with no shoes. Like, who comes home with no shoes on? Like, you know, he would just do crazy things. And he is like, he was a rapper. So, like, it was just a hot mess. So, it took me, first of all, 2 years to even leave the relationship. Because I was so dependent. That toxic relationship also taught me independence. That relationship taught me, like, I will never again in my life depend on no man ever. And I made sure that my daughter learned that. Never depend on no man. Always be able to stand on your own. Yeah. And then my third child and fourth child, which one just turned 18, the other one is 20, I have with the same dude. And that relationship was toxic because he was a cheater, first of all. But he was also very manipulative. He wasn't so obvious in his manipulation, but he was a cheater. Like, I couldn't believe he would cheat on me while he was supposed to be at work. Then he had a baby. So after 6 years, I left that relationship. And he made me move. Like, I had to move, like physically move in order for him to leave. Yeah. But we are very civil co-parents. Like, I think he's one of the nicest people I know. Not a good boyfriend, but he's a good dude. Like, then my last 3 kids are by my ex-husband. And it's 12, 10, and 8 are their ages. And I only have 1 girl. And what made that relationship toxic was he was a gaslighter. And do you know it took me like 7 years to realize he was doing that to me? And if those who don't know what gaslighting is when if you express yourself about something and they turn it around and make it your fault. Like, he was like a person that I could never express anything to him because he would always turn it around. And he was a narcissist too. Like, it was just crazy. But we also co-parent very peacefully. But yeah, that's a different kind of toxic. I mean, I went so far as to, before I even broke off my marriage, I like created this whole like poster board presentation about gaslighting and manipulation, or gaslighting and narcissism. Because I wanted him to know that he was a narcissist. But I wanted to have facts behind it because he was a gaslighter. So I wanted to have irrefutable evidence that told him he was a narcissist. So I did this whole like presentation. I put pictures and everything on it. And do you know, first of all, he said his reaction to it was he think everybody's a narcissist. And then he didn't realize, because really I was breaking up with him at that time. Like, that was the whole point of the presentation. But it went over his head because he didn't get it. 2 weeks later, he calls me and he tells to me, "Was you trying to break up with me?" And I was dying on the inside. Because it took him 2 weeks to realize I was breaking up with him. And those are just the toxic relationships that I have kids with. Like, I talked about the relationship with the one dude that had a baby on me. What other toxic relationship? Man, let me think here because I know there's more. But yeah, people be always like trying to judge you when you have more than one baby father. But let me tell y'all, it don't matter how many baby fathers you got. You do not have to deal with nobody's bullshit at all. You don't have to tolerate nobody's son, nobody's daughter. I don't care if you have kids or not. Because I know people constantly judge me. They constantly judge me because I have more than one baby. But toxic is toxic. And don't nobody... Oh, I do have another toxic relationship. Okay, when I was 14, this story is crazy. Y'all. I was 14. I was dating my neighbor. I'm not going to say his name, but he had a brother, an older brother, and they like used to be like this little clique. And my mom used to be like the party house, right? And so one night, I was dating this dude, and he had came into where we was at, and he showed me like a gun. And I'm 14 years old. I don't know why this man is showing me a gun. But do you know, later on that night, that same gun was used in a murder in my front yard of my house at my mom's birthday party. Yeah. I don't even realize I'm quiet. That was a very toxic relationship. Like that, he was. That happened in 1995, right in our front yard. This young man was murdered by my neighbor. That's a toxic relationship. Yeah, that was a crazy time. My little heart is coming out. I'm trying to think of other toxic situations, bro. Okay, let's talk about toxic situation with friends, because it's not always relationships with like significant others. You can also be in toxic friendships, y'all. Say you got a friend, right, that when you get together with her, she talk about everybody else. Like, she talk about her own family. She talk about her friends, her other friends. Like, that's toxic. This is the person you're not going to be able to trust, because she's probably telling other people your business that you done told her. So be mindful, y'all. Toxicity comes in friendships too. That's why I don't really have any friends. I have one friend, childhood friend. But I'm trying to think of any other toxic relationships. I did have a friendship with this one person. I don't want to get into any detail, because if she watches this, she'll be offended. But I felt like she was using me. You gotta be mindful of that too, y'all. Sometimes people that you think will never think they will use you for whatever skill you have. Like, I like to make shirts. I'm very creative. So I've made a lot of shirts. But I have this little machine called a Cricut. And a Cricut is not meant for like orders, like big orders. Like, it's a little at-home machine that you can make your own shirts at home. And she was trying to turn it into a business that just sucked up all my time. And she took the passion that I have for making the shirts in itself, and just turn it into something that I just was not cool with. So I had to cut ties with that toxic relationship, because you cannot allow people to use you. And sometimes people will butter you up. I'm telling you. They will butter you. They will try make you feel like you're like the greatest thing since toilet paper. And it's just part of their manipulative tactics. And don't fall for it. So those are my toxic friendships that I had to deal with. I'm trying to think of any more relationships. Toxic. You can be in toxic jobs too. Oh man, yes you can. See, toxicity comes in all forms, y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all a story about my toxic job. 2 of them, actually. So one of my toxic jobs was at the zoo. So I worked at a place as an HR, and I loved it there. It was like the greatest job. I loved it. A lot of changes happened. I decided, okay, I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna go work at the zoo. You think the zoo animals. I love red pandas. See my painting red pandas up there? I love red pandas. OMG. It was the most toxic environment that you could even, like, I swear to you, I think my boss was scared of me. Because I am so intolerant. I'm telling you guys, I'm intolerant in I don't care if it's a job. I don't care if you're the CEO. I don't care if it's a relationship. I am so intolerant, and I will stand up for myself. And I don't care who you are. And I think my boss was actually scared of me. Because we sat down, and she decided this ain't going to be a good fit for you. And it was not. Because that lady was crazy. I would walk in, and I would have my own things I'm going to do today. I have it all set up. And she would just plop something down on my desk and be like, I need you to work on this right now. First of all, in my mind, I'm like, first of all, who is you talking to? Because Like, look, I had to pull her aside and tell her about herself. And it just did not work out. Like, you have to give respect to get it. You cannot just, no. So that was the first toxic job that I had. The second toxic job I had, I was HR somewhere else. I don't want to say no names. But this is a company I would never work for again in my life. But the lady, the store director was so fake. And she was so, like, she would never hold herself accountable. Like, if something happened, she never said, like, this is my team, this is my store. Like, she was so in competition with me. I would help out on the floor all the time. And because she couldn't do it or she didn't do it, she told me I couldn't do it. Like, she was such a hater. And it was like, no. Like, and I even tried to be the bigger person. And I tried to flip it and everything. But she was so manipulative. She had the HR higher-ups, like, all, like, wrapped around her narrative. That's the thing about toxic people. Like, they will create a narrative that is so believable. Like, that's crazy. But that's another toxic job. I was like, heck no. Like, because I told her about herself. And I'll be trying to be a better person, y'all. But you should never tolerate disrespect in any, I don't care if it's a job, if it's a, when I was working at one company, I created a whole PowerPoint presentation. It took me 8 hours to do this. I put all of their, their mission statement and everything that the company is supposed to stand by. And I gave them all these examples of why these leaders are not standing by that. And this is when I was HR. So, my job was to advocate for those who are too afraid. Like, a lot of people are so afraid to stand up for themselves because they're like, I'm going to be retaliated against. And me personally, I'd be like, forget retaliation. They can retaliate if they want to. Like, at least if I get retaliated against, at least I'm standing up for what's right. And if I get let go, I'm standing up for what's right. And I can walk away feeling good with that. So I created a whole PowerPoint presentation. I put leadership's faces in there, positions, things that they said, things that they done. Oh my gosh, it was great. So I didn't get retaliated against, but it changed. It changed things. Like, those two people that I was complaining about were moved. Like, they were no longer over us. So it helped. So you don't have to deal with toxic jobs either. Like, I'm such an advocate, though. Like, I'm an advocate for what's right. Like, I don't care, like, if I lose my job, then I lose my job. You're not going to walk all over me. I was a recruiter. This is another toxic situation. I was a recruiter for a company once. And they promoted my old boss. And they put this new lady in. And this lady was constantly picking with me. And constantly picking with me. And my younger self, I used to be real passive. I used to just let things things be. Like, I don't want to create no static. I don't want to ruffle no feathers. Man, so that's how it was for a while. Then all of a sudden one day, I was like, you know what? I told her off. I said, today is the last day you are going to pick with me. I said, I'm not going to stand for it no more. Like, you're going to stop picking with me or we're going to have problems. And that right there, by saying that, and y'all, I'm not saying be hostile because I didn't have the HR back then that I do now. And just me saying that to her, I created a hostile work environment. So now she was afraid. So I lost my job. So, yes, I should have stood up for myself. How I did it, I could have chosen better words. I could have handled it a lot differently. So I feel like that termination was justified because no, you should not tolerate disrespect, but you should be respectful on how you handle a situation. You can't go into a situation hostile. You can't go into a situation making someone feel like you're gonna hurt them, because you're the one that's gonna look bad. That was a learning experience. I did get out of a toxic situation, but I could have handled it way better. So just be mindful how you handle toxic situations and how you leave. For the most part, you should be respectful and kind, even if someone is not kind to you. Just because someone is mean to you does not mean you have to return that. You could just leave peacefully, and that'll be it. My painting is coming out pretty nice, y'all. I know I just threw a lot of information at y'all. A lot of stories, but I got stories for days about my life. Like, that's why I'm single now. I've been single for 5 years. Oh, and another thing about toxic relationships, never jump from one to another. Always close your door before you open another one. Always be, for the most part, healed before jumping into another relationship, because you know what? You're going to be jumping into a whole other set of problems. A bad foundation. You're going to start off on a very bad foundation. Close the door, heal from it, do whatever you need to do. Like, I see myself probably being single for a very long time, just because of my tolerance for stuff. Like, I went out on a date, right? To IHOP, y'all. IHOP don't cost that much, bro. They don't. This man used a coupon. Like, we got our meal for free. And that right there, I never talked to him again. Like, it's not about, and people probably think, oh, I'm money hungry or something. It's not even about the money. It's just about the principle. Like, how are you going to use a coupon at one of the cheapest places on a first date? Like, that's some shit you use when, like, on your 20-year anniversary or something. Like, yeah, that was a complete turn off to me. Complete. Also, another toxic trait is if you start talking to a person and all they do is revert to the conversation to themselves, that is a red flag. And that's going to be toxic for you. Because that person's not going to, he's not thinking about you or anything. All he's thinking about is himself. And if he is thinking about you, it's so you could be on his arm as a showpiece. Because I had a boyfriend like that too. Like, every conversation was me. Like, it turned into him, every conversation. Drove me crazy. That relationship was short-lived. And he always wanted to, like, go out places. Like, trying to show me off or something. He's nuts. So I say all that, y'all, because I want to tell y'all, walking away is often framed as quitting. But sometimes staying is the real abandonment. You don't owe anyone access to you if it costs you your peace. Walking away doesn't erase what was real. It's simply acknowledging what no longer is. You can honor love without staying trapped inside of it. And leaving doesn't mean you didn't try hard enough. It means you stop trying at the expense of yourself. That's not failure. That's integrity, y'all. So when love hurts, you got to let it go. Our painting looks beautiful. So if you stayed longer than you should have, forgive yourself. If you're still grieving what you hoped it would be, that's human. You didn't imagine the pain. You didn't fail the lesson. You learned it. So when love starts to hurt, choosing yourself is not selfish. It's sacred. This is wet paint, and nothing here needs to be rushed. I'll see you next time. There's always things to think, things you're not too sure about. So do I stop it? All right, whenever you come back, I'm done. I gotta go to the potty. Sometimes it puts a smile on your face, 'cause deep down you know question anymore. No second guessing, no maybes, no wondering what my heart's for. I don't know much about tomorrow. I don't know where the road will go, but I know this feeling in my soul, and I know it's you. I know it's you. I don't know all the answers in that. I don't know why. You have to cut all this out. Bloopers. Blooper reel. I did it. I don't know how to do it. Does it just keep recording? All my stories, I had like 1,000,001 fucking stories. I think my next show I want to do on manipulation. They like the drama. I'm gonna start telling my drama life. Hey, my friend, she was watching Godfrey, and I said, "Cause you used to work with Godfrey, didn't you?" And I told her that. She was like, "We need to go to California. Can we meet him?" Oh, Godfrey's in New York. So where was he shoot? Was he in California at one point? Oh, he performs there. Yeah, he be online. She was watching him on TikTok. Oh, he's touring. Yeah, I went to Cat Williams, and not that many people even went. And they had like all these old school comedians like Tom